Welcome to this Cyber-Cognition video, titled The Legal Framework of Content Moderation. This video serves as a two-part introductory discussion on some of the legal frameworks that govern content moderation in the United States. We will also explore the ways in which these laws shape content moderation practices and the debates surrounding their effectiveness.
The legal framework of online content moderation in the United States is complex and dynamic, shaped by a combination of federal laws, state laws, and court rulings. Two laws that have a significant impact on content moderation practices are Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act and the First Amendment.
Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act is a federal law that provides immunity to online platforms from liability for user-generated content. It states that no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. This means that online platforms are not legally responsible for the content that users post on their platforms, with some exceptions such as content that violates federal criminal law or intellectual property laws.
Section 230 has played a crucial role in shaping content moderation practices by giving online platforms the legal protection they need to remove or limit user-generated content that violates their community guidelines or policies. It has enabled platforms to develop their own moderation standards without fear of legal repercussions, leading to the growth of diverse and innovative content moderation practices. However, Section 230 has also been criticized for its role in allowing platforms to avoid responsibility for harmful content, leading to calls for its reform or repeal. The First Amendment is another significant legal framework that shapes content moderation practices. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution protects freedom of speech and expression, including online speech. It states that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. However, the First Amendment does not protect all forms of speech, such as speech that incites violence, constitutes harassment, or constitutes defamation.
The First Amendment's protection of free speech has been a significant factor in debates around content moderation practices. Some argue that platforms' moderation practices violate users' First Amendment rights by censoring or limiting their speech. Others argue that platforms have the right to moderate content as private entities, without violating users' free speech rights. Courts have generally upheld the right of platforms to moderate content, as long as they do not discriminate against particular viewpoints or engage in unconstitutional censorship.
In addition to these laws, various state laws and court rulings also play a role in shaping content moderation practices. For instance, some states have enacted laws that aim to regulate or limit online platforms' content moderation practices. However, these laws have faced legal challenges and are subject to interpretation and enforcement by courts.
The legal framework of online content moderation in the United States is a complex and evolving landscape, shaped by a combination of federal laws, state laws, and court rulings. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act and the First Amendment are two significant legal frameworks that shape content moderation practices. While these laws provide important legal protections and rights, they also raise complex debates around issues such as free speech, censorship, and liability. As content moderation practices continue to evolve, the legal framework will likely continue to adapt and evolve in response. In our next video, we will take a look at some of the case laws that reflect the complexities involved. This concludes this Cyber-Cognition introductory video on the legal aspects of online content moderation. Please join us as we continue this discussion in our next video. Until then, take control and be your own agent of change.